start moving into the NL now. We are going to do the exact same thing. We're going to go through the Cy Young first, then we're going to move on to the MVP, and then we're going to move on to our Rookie of the Year picks. I do have my MVP as someone I have on the team I have winning the World Series, so we'll get to that in a little bit. But let's have Lucas get us started with his Cy Young pick in the National League.
I'm going with another of the safer picks for NL Cy Young. I have Jacob deGrom of the New York Mets. He's 33 years old. He's already won 2 Cy Young awards. He's won a Rookie of the Year. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's got the resume. He was fantastic last season, fantastic in 2019. 183 ERA plus, 171 ERA plus. Those are scaled where 100 is league average. So that's way, way above league average. His home runs per 9, he's kept them below 1 for the vast majority of his career. He's kept the ball in the ballpark, and he strikes guys out. As you can see, he led the National League in strikeouts in both 2019 and 2020. In that 2019 campaign, he won Cy Young Award despite a sub-stellar record. That was because the Mets were just not very good. This year, the Mets will likely be significantly better. They'll provide him run support. He'll get some of those old school voters that refuse to vote for him because that record wasn't good enough in the past. And he'll get those votes now because his record is going to be a lot better this year. And I just think he's the best pitcher in the National League. I don't think you're going to find a whole lot of people that would disagree with that sentiment, that he's just one of the best pitchers in the big leagues, definitely the best in the National League. And at 33 years old, this is probably one of his last years of being truly dominant, but I think he's got a couple years left in him. And this year, I've got him winning the Cy Young.
It's a 2-team race in that division, the NL East. It's between the Mets and the Braves. We'll see how it pans out. I am a fan of Jacob deGrom. He's not my pick, but I'll just tell you, my favorite game I ever watched Jacob deGrom play was when the Mets lost 2-1. Jacob deGrom allowed 1 hit, which was a 2-run homer. He pitched the entire game, and he also had a home run. So he was the entirety of the Mets offense. He played a great game on defense, and they still lost. I just find that game funny. I felt bad for him. But now let's get to my pick. I have Darvish. Darvish was a Chicago Cub last year. That's my team. Now he's on the Padres. He was their opening day starter. He's their ace. And last year with the Cubs, he's had 12 starts and a 2.01 ERA. It was a lot of fun to watch as a Chicago Cubs fan. I was hoping we kept him, but he's also pretty expensive, so I'm not too upset about it. But anyways, I think he is going to be the best pitcher in the NL this year. He was ranked 4th or 5th at the beginning of the season in the Cy Young preseason predictions, but I just think he's too good to be there. Back a long time ago, Darvish was a very good pitcher on the Rangers. Then he struggled a little bit. He went to the Dodgers, did all right. Came to the Cubs. He did pretty well this last year. And now I just think he's going to be back to what he used to be. He's a 4-time All-Star. He's getting up there in his career. He's 34 years old. But he's just so much fun to watch. And I see his numbers being closer to his 2020 numbers than they will be to his 2019 numbers this season. And I really hope that he can win the Cy Young because he deserves it. Now we're going to get in. Do you have anything to add, Lucas?
Yeah, no doubt. He was one of the best pitchers last season. I agree that I think his numbers will probably be closer to 2020 than they were to 2019. That home runs per 9 in 2019 was way up there. Ultimately, I don't think he can get it done. I think he's a good pitcher. I don't know if he's a Cy Young caliber pitcher. I don't even think he's the best pitcher on the Padres. I think that honor belongs to Blake Snell. But we'll see what happens.
The Padres are a good team this year, and I do hope they do well because neither of us really like the Dodgers.
It's true. NL MVP, I have Juan Soto. So I was just talking about Jared Kelenic. He's 21 years old, and the crazy thing is that Juan Soto is also 21 years old, and yet he's already put together some massively productive years in the big leagues, and I don't anticipate this year being any exception. If you look at his numbers last year, I don't know how he finished. I think it was 3rd in MVP voting. That just blew me away. He led the league in all 3 categories of the triple slash. That's average, on base percentage, and slugging percentage. He hit 13 home runs in the short season, which is pretty crazy. He led the league in OPS plus 218. I've never seen a figure like that. Obviously, it was the shortened season, so there's probably an asterisk there. But even still, 218 OPS plus is unbelievable, and he was worth 2.4 WAR. I mean, you can't argue with those numbers. And here's a number that if you don't think the shortened season really translates well. K rate and walk rate do. They stabilize extremely fast with small sample sizes. And his K rate last year was lower than his walk rate, which is just insane. You don't see that very often in today's game. And when you combine that fact that his walk rate was higher than his K rate with the fact that his hard hit rate was over 50%, uh, and that was true 2 years ago, and his K rate was only slightly higher than his walk rate a couple of seasons ago. Um, that's what superstars are made out of, guys that control the strike zone and hit the ball hard when they swing at baseballs. And I think Juan Soto is one of the best players in the game right now and will ultimately take home NL MVP.
I have a lot of fun watching Juan Soto. I love the Nationals. I love I love Max Scherzer to strive to win, and the Nationals are fun to watch. Juan Soto is definitely the best player on that team right now. I think Trey Turner's good too. Trey Turner is a very good player, but I think Juan Soto is the best. I would not be upset if he won MVP, but my pick is Ronald Acuna Jr. Last year, Freddie Freeman won the MVP. He was a teammate of Ronald Acuna Jr. over on the Braves. They're still teammates, but this year I'm giving it to Ronald. I have the Braves winning the World Series this year. I think that they are the best team in baseball. They have been off to a very rough start this season, but I see them turning it around. Ronald Acuna Jr., he did not do amazing last year, but he didn't do terrible. Those numbers are definitely not terrible. His 250, I think, will go up. His home runs for a shortened season are very good. He gets on base. He helps his team win. And that 152 OPS plus is very good. The league average is obviously 100 for those of you that do not know. But yes, I also think he's a very good defender. He's not one of those people who only bat and then they just throw. He can play the entire outfield. He does play all the outfield positions, and he is good at it. I see him being the MVP this year because I think he's the best player on the best team. And no, you don't have to be on a winning team to win MVP, even though I have in this situation. Mike Trout has been on not the best team and still wins MVP a lot. And he's better than Ronald Acuna Jr., but I do have Ronald Acuna Jr. being this year's MVP. He won Rookie of the Year back a couple seasons ago. He's an all-star. He's only 23 years old, still very young, still getting better and better each year, and I hope he wins. I hope the Braves win the World Series. They're a fun team to watch. They are young overall, too.
Very young.
Now, we're going to get into our Rookie of the Years in the NL. Lucas, why do you have Ke'Bryan Hayes?
Yeah, Ke'Bryan Hayes. He came onto the spotlight a little bit last year and was absolutely fantastic for a Pittsburgh team that was, to put it mildly, not fantastic. If you look at that slash line, again, it was only 24 games. He only played half of the already shortened season, but he put up absolutely fantastic numbers. 199 OPS plus is 99% better than league average. He almost put up 2 wins in a shortened season, which is just ridiculous. I mean, you don't see those kind of numbers. Again, it was only 24 games. His strikeout and walk numbers, as I discussed, which stabilized extremely quickly, were good but not exceptional. His hard hit rate stabilizes, generally speaking, pretty fast. I don't know if 30 games is quite enough for it to stabilize, but it should give you a pretty good indication. And he was well above 50%, which for a guy with no MLB experience is pretty insane to put up those kind of numbers. And then his prospect rankings, Baseball America isn't as high on him as some of the other outlets. They have him as number 15, and then he's top 10 for both MLB.com and Baseball Prospectus. He's kind of the hot pick to win NL Rookie of the Year this year, but it's hard to argue with that when you look at those numbers that he put up last season.
Yes, Ke'Bryan Hayes is good. I've already seen him a little bit this season. He played my Cubs on opening day and hit a 2-run homer in the first inning off Kyle Hendricks, which obviously was very frustrating. But he is a very good player. He might be the best player on the Pirates. He probably is the best player on the Pirates. But my pick is Ian Anderson. Ian Anderson is a right-handed pitcher. He played last year in the shortened season a little bit. He had 6 starts. He only allowed 7 runs in those 6 starts. And he had a ton of strikeouts, which I love. 11.4 per 9 innings. Ian Anderson, once again, I said I have the Braves winning the World Series, so don't be surprised when I'm picking all these players that are Braves players. But no, he's going to be very good in the future. If he's not Rookie of the Year this year, he could be a Cy Young pick a few years from now because he showed a lot of promise last year. He's ranked as high as 5 as a prospect and I really hope that he can be one of the Braves' better pitchers this year. I hope he can prove that pitchers can win awards like this too, because a lot of times they don't win Rookie of the Year. They can win Rookie of the Year, but a lot of times they don't. I'm rooting for Ian Anderson. He is also going to be fun to watch. I haven't seen too much of him yet, but I'm ready to watch him this year. I think he had like 1 home run last season, which is incredible for 6 starts. That's very good. He pitched 32 innings, and he had an under 2 ERA. But yep, that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Lucas, anything last you want to add?
No, I don't think so.
All right, so we will be back. This is our second series of baseball videos that are coming out this week. We'll be back next week with more. And thanks again to Blake and Vish for letting us host this series on their channel. Make sure you check out all their videos. They got a ton of 49ers content, but overall they have a lot of NFL content and a decent amount of NBA content. Go check out those videos if you're just here for MLB. If you're from the sports world, like you are only an NFL guy and you just want to learn about baseball, welcome. We'll keep you updated. You're going to be with us all season long, and we're going to have a lot of fun. Thanks again, and see you guys next week.